Hello and welcome to Unmasking the Glory. Okay, today we're going to be mainly discussing the last Premier League game, Burnley v Man United, and then we're going to be looking ahead to the upcoming FA Cup tie against Brighton coming up. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, so Darren Fletcher's first game in charge as caretaker manager. Okay, so what did we all think? What did I think? I saw no change. No change at all. Besides the fact that we had four out the back, um, no, I didn't see any change there. But that's to be expected, I think, from Darren Fletcher. I think he would have been under. I've got to try and watch my words here. I don't think. I think the only reason what he's doing is because he's being told to just not change too much, just kind of just try and steady it for whoever's going to be the interim manager till the end of the season. I think the biggest telling part for me was the fact that Fernandez was actually straight in, not even on the subs, he was straight in start. I think that tells quite a lot. The fact that he was still meant to be out injured. So whether there was something else behind the scenes there or not leading up, I think it's very telling the fact that Fernandez was straight back in. First game after Amarin left, Fernandez straight back in, starting. Maybe more stuff will come out in future weeks, months around this. Mano named on the subs bench, which is good. I quite like him. I don't necessarily think. Well, I don't think many players that we've currently got are the quality that Manchester United need. I'd give the exception on probably Kuna. I think Matheus Cunha is world class. I really rate him. Although in this last game with Burnley, he was very quiet, absent in a lot of the proportion of the game, which was unusual for me to see. It was good seeing. I saw some glimpses for the first time of Ugarte doing some like recovery tackles, like solid, good, well judged recovery tackles. I hadn't really seen too much of that yet from Ugarte, so he had been one of the ones that had been letting me down. I had high hopes for him, but I did see good glimpses from him in that game. So hopefully he can build on that and play to his strengths a bit more. Because from what I read and what I've seen before of him, he does have some good qualities that Man United need. We just haven't really seen that so far. Burnley's first goal, from a Man United fan, it was a horrendous goal to give away. But on the same side, it was a very unfortunate goal to give away. So I'm not going to look too much into that. Yeah, there are things that are done differently and better, but that's the case with everything. There's always ways to improve and do things better. But that was unlucky. Second half, we obviously came out with a bit more purpose, which was great to see. But yeah, in the end, we drew 2-2, and it kind of felt like a loss. Yeah, not a great performance from anyone in our team, and I'd even put Sesko in that category. Yeah, sure, he got a brace, but what is with suddenly all those fancy touches that he's trying to do? It looked weird. it looked odd. Sesko had a lot more chances in reality than he actually made for himself. He way overcomplicated things. Just get the fundamentals right, guys. Yeah. I mean, it hurts. When Manu came on, I was hoping he was going to do well. He had, from what I can recollect, he had one decent show where he got the ball and he was under a lot of pressure from two players, and he held off. He held them off for a good 5-10 seconds on the ball and kept possession for Man United. Besides that, it was not a good 15 minutes from him. But look, he putting myself in his shoes, hopefully the mindset he had would have been, look, I'm really eager to please here. I need to try and do something. And he over tried. Because it was that determined to try and do something positive and show the fans as well that, look, he wants his future to be here. And unfortunately for him, it didn't come off. I think the last thing I want to do, and other people in the media, to just say like that was to basically lambast him, put even more pressure on the young lad. He clearly is talented. He has a great, bright future ahead. We should be just focusing on the positives for what he'd done, and he held in that one instance. He held off brilliantly that pressure, and he retained possession for us at a crucial time. The defense. My view is the defense is our biggest problem in our team. Defense is the big problem. I'm still very unsure on Martinez. I think he's far too reckless for what we need. He wins a lot of 1-to-1s, but he's incredibly reckless. He just needs to rein it in and channel that aggression, recklessness into more precise and accurate moments. I would still be having Maguire. I still really rate Maguire. I think the worst thing that we did was giving Maguire the captaincy. Unfortunately, I think it was part of his downfall. I'm not going to go too much into details in this video, but when Fernandes took over that mantle, there was a clear lead, and leading up to it, there was a clear leadership challenge. Is that the right word? You could see on the pitch between Maguire and Fernandes with how they conducted themselves, and I think Maguire really suffered since that transition. Heaven is an interesting prospect for the future. He's now consistently being named in the starting lineup, which is good. We need young consistency, and they can have 1 or 2 bad games. That's fine. As a team, it's there, and the manager's responsibility is to build up, focus on the good stuff that they did in the games, and hope that they can build up. Because these are professionals. They know what they did wrong in games. They certainly don't need someone like me to tell them what they did wrong. But I believe when you're at that age and the pressure of playing for this club, they need the managers and the supporting coaching staff around them to be almost purely focused on the stuff they did well. Really did a solid block there when your team needed you. You saved a goal here. You distributed the ball from defence here, allowing a turnaround in possession, and we launched the counter attack. Excellent. Focus on the positives. Let's build these kids up. It's going to be. Anyway. The game ended 2-2. Not disaster, but Darren Fletcher's first game in charge. It wasn't what I expected. I expected Man United to win comfortably, to be honest. It didn't happen, but we're used to being disappointed right now, aren't we? It doesn't surprise me at all that Darren Fletcher's in charge for the FA Cup round game against Brighton. I think there's quite a few reasons for that. I think one, the hierarchy at the top of the club might still be pondering on who they want as the interim to the end of the season. But I also think the people at the top don't necessarily expect us to win this game against Brighton. You look ahead at our next few Premier League fixtures, and there are some favourable ties in there that we should, on paper, score a handful of goals and win comfortably. I think if I was to put money on this, I would say Darren Fletcher's last game as the caretaker manager will be on Sunday against Brighton. Then it's good for us because I do feel we need him back in the youth, managing the youth team. I think we've got some great prospects, really, really good prospects that in the next 18 to 24 months, I'm expecting to start seeing breaking through into the first team again, which is what we want. We want to be focusing on a pocket of youth talent that we've got. We want 4 or 5 really good youth prospects that we can start integrating into this team over the next 2 years. I think that would be really positive. But yeah, I believe this will be Darren Fletcher's last game on Sunday. So I hope the team put in a shift, and I hope at the end of the final whistle we come out on top and we're through to the next round of the FA Cup, because it will be great for the fans and good for the club to have a decent run in this competition. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for Kuna to have a much better game. I would be playing it all through as much as I can, all through him. I'd be getting Fernandes to tie into Fernandes and Casemiro to tie into Kuna as much as possible. So we'll see if it's Shaw and Dalat who plays on the wings this game. It'll be interesting. Interesting to see the temperament we start the game. Typically, Man United tend to, that I've seen in the last, not even 10 games, like 20 games. For a long time now, Man United have started off games with a high intensity and a high purpose, creating chances. They just don't convert those chances early, and then we go into a completely different team for the remainder of the game. But then you couple that with where we were this time last year, and it was the opposite. We would get a goal, and as soon as we'd scored a goal, we would then change into a completely different team, which was so frustrating. When you, as a fan, supporter, you're watching it, you're like, okay, now kick on. Or continue at exactly what you're doing because it's working. No, we just changed and sat back, and but at least hopefully I won't expect to chase to win a game and we decide to sub off defenders for defenders. So at least I won't expect to see those sorts of tactics implemented anymore. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. As for who the interim manager is going to be, I'm going to be putting out a video after the FA Cup game. Actually, I might put one before, but I've got some very interesting thoughts on that, mainly around Gareth Southgate, who just straight off the bat I do not want. But I'll put that out there, and I know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Carrick, they're two of Man United's own front runners that are currently in the charge for the interim position. So we'll be looking at the interim and the permanent one at come season end. Also, my views on whether I think having an interim manager is a right decision right now, or whether we should just go recruit a permanent manager. So yeah, but we'll see. Look, it is what it is. We are in. I don't want to say we're in trouble from a football position point of view, but I do feel we're at a bit of a crossroads from a historical club standing point of view. What direction we go next will define the next generation's legacy. It is serious business what's happening right now, and it's very serious business, the decision that the people at the top are going to make. So yeah, let's just hope that we get some positive results, at least on the pitch, and yeah, people start to fear us a bit, and we can instill that fear, especially at Old Trafford, where it's just been far too easy for opposition to play against us, far too long. Yeah, so Brighton on Sunday. Yeah, fingers crossed it goes in our way, but I think it's going to be a tough game, and on paper we should win. We all know we should win this, but as I've said before, expectations and reality, especially with Manchester United, are two very different things. Anyway, look, please, if you want to keep up to date on my latest videos drops, please subscribe to the channel and follow whatever streaming service you're using. It really helps me. Okay, all right, thanks very much. Take care all.